Hi, Dr. Dale. Thank you so much for letting me send in this video with all my answers to your questions. I'll be having Cindy Weibel read these questions to me, and here are my responses.
What are your primary interests in theater?
My primary interests in theater, I, well, they are acting, writing, and directing. Acting is obviously something that I find to help me as a person, help me grow as a person, and make me more creative and everything. Writing, uh, I'm a huge fan of playwrights and scripts, and I find writing to be there's a million and one ways to read a line, and I find it so interesting that a playwright was in one state of mind when they wrote it, but still it's interpreted so much differently. And I think the creative process in playwriting is so interesting and somewhat belittled when it comes to theater. Like, people don't really think about the script or the playwright when it comes down to theater, and that's something I kind of want to explore. And directing, I find the directing process also different because the director has an image in their head of what they want, and they have to kind of mold it out of the set, the acting, the sounds, the lights, and all those things come together, and the director really is one that gets the final say in it all. And yeah, directing is something that I'm curious about, and I would really like to investigate this a little bit.
All right, so what initially sparked your interest in theater?
Well, I live just outside New York City, so I've been seeing shows since a very young age. I've been lucky to see shows since a very young age, and just all the showiness of the musicals and plays on Broadway really caught my eye and attention. But I never thought of myself going into theater until uh, I was in middle school, and my neighbor, who I never heard speak before, just a silent big kid, was in the Footloose production going on at the high school next door. And my whole family went to support my neighbors, and I sat down and I'm like, how is he going to be in this show? And he was the lead and just came out bursting like with energy and like song, dance, and I thought it was so awesome and crazy that he was doing this, and I really wanted that feeling of everything just like free and easy, like everything's great. So then when I went to the high school, I did theater, and it's just a collection of beautifully creative and funny and smart people. And I just really love the environment that theater allows and the people that it invites.
What was your last theatrical production you attended that had an impact on you as an audience member? And explain why.
Well, we've seen so much great theater since we've come here to London. But the one that just is still in my mind is when we went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival at the beginning of the semester, where they have all these productions going on. Uh, there was this one production of Lieutenant of Inishmore. It's by playwright Martin McDonagh, who I really love. He's Irish. He's gritty. He's gross in the violence that he puts in, but it all just comes to one message. And I'm a huge fan of his, and I saw it was playing there in Edinburgh. So me and a bunch of my friends bought tickets, and so we get to this nice big grand theater, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great production, a nice big theater, and everything. So then we had time before we had to go in, and so I just assumed it was this giant theater. But we go in, they rip our ticket, and they bring us to a coat closet in the theater because another one was going on, but our show was happening in this coat closet. And it was so interesting. They had all the chairs lined up around the entire room, and they gave us ponchos and plastic bags to put over our legs. And it was so I didn't know what to, well, I knew what to expect because I read the play. It was going to be bloody and gory and violent. And then all of a sudden, the actors come out, and right less than 2 feet in front of us, this show is going on. The whole show, like, people are getting stabbed, blood is splattering all over us, people are falling dead on us. And I thought that was just so cool. You never see guerrilla style theater like that. And it gave you the raw emotions, like the anxiety, the comedy of it too. It was really interesting, and you don't really see that often. And it really, like, I'm still shaking just thinking about all the blood and gore on me. But it was really just genuine. You walked out of the theater with an experience that you never see anywhere else, and I thought that was so great.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I definitely see myself in New York City. Uh, the past 2 summers, I've interned at Araka, the Araka Group, which is a production and merchandise group that works for Broadway and other theaters within New York. For them, I set up for meetings. I went through their receipts, filed. I also ran merchandise to theaters in New York, and they have a program for students who want to work there, and it's about 4 semesters of working, and I could definitely see that being an employment opportunity for me.
Mhm.
I would like to also audition for in New York City because acting is something that I find, uh, well, it's a passion of mine actually. So, I mean, yeah, just being employed after school would be pretty great. But the Iraka Group is a great environment, and it's work that I like to do in the theater, as well as possible acting opportunities.
What kind of student are you?
What kind of student am I? I came into college with a pretty low GPA, but over the years that's been growing. I think it's because when I'm passionate about something, I work towards it. Especially with all my theater classes, I focus everything into those because, again, once you're passionate about something and like you never work a day in your life when you do something you love. And yeah, I procrastinate a bit, but in the end I always get my work done. I do as teachers instruct. Sorry, the screen goes dark sometimes. But yeah, I'm a student that if I put my mind to it, you will get the best result from me.
What interests do you have outside of theater?
Outside of theater, sports. I'm the middle of 3 boys, and sports was a definite. I travel a lot. I've been to India, Egypt. Actually, London was the first time I was in Europe ever. It was weird. India, Egypt, Dubai, Bermuda. I love different cultures and different places. I especially love like history. In high school, I was a huge fan of history, and but yeah, world travel and history is really something I'm passionate about a lot. Yeah, a lot really, and yeah, I just love learning about something new in some place where it could have shaped what I see today. It was really interesting, and then yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much my interests.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dale.
Bye, Dr. D.